What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about Unit 3, National Income and Price, topic 3.2, which is multipliers. So we'll cover MPC, marginal propensity to consume, MPS, which is marginal propensity to save, the expenditure multiplier, the tax multiplier, and then disposable income. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. 3.2, multipliers. All right, so the multiplier effect. How that works is, a lot of cities are always after bringing in big events to their city, right? And why is that? Is that they want people to come into their city and spend money at their city, right? So, for example, if we were to have here in El Paso, Texas, we have the Sun Bowl, right? So when the Sun Bowl comes every year, people from outside of El Paso come in. And, that sends off a spending chain that happens through our local economy, right? So, someone from outside of El Paso, right, they come in, they spend, $100 at a restaurant, right? That restaurant owner takes that $100 and, he spends, he's going to take that $100 and he's going to spend it on somebody else's product, right? Or something else, right? Or he's going to go get some haircuts, and then that haircut place, right, they're going to take their that $100 and then they're going to spend it, right? And it's going to constantly go through the economy, right? And so the multiplier effect shows how spending is magnified in the economy, right? Because that $100 that the one person spent, right, is the $100 that's in the economy, but that was spent 3 or 4 times, so that increases GDP by $400, right? So how does that work when the government spends money, right? So if the government spends $5 million, will aggregate demands increase by the same amount? No, it won't increase by the same amount. So even as more government spending becomes incomes and other consumers and other customers are consumers, right? So consumers will take that money, spend, thus increasing aggregate demand. So how much will aggregate demand increase? So it depends on what happens with the money, right? Because, there's 2 things essentially you can do with a dollar. You can either spend the dollar or you can save the dollar. So we need to know and figure out with the multiplier effect is how much are people spending and how much people are saving, right? And so if people save a lot of money, right, then that's not going to have that big of an effect. But if people spend all their money, right, then that's going to have a big effect, right? It's going to have a big, a big effect. So now let's first talk about the consumption part. So marginal propensity to consume. So marginal propensity to consume is how much people consume as opposed to saving, right? So it's how much people consume rather than save when there is a change in their disposable income. It's going to both marginal propensity to save and marginal propensity to consume, MPC and MPS, are both represented in a decimal point or a fraction, right? And so MPS is your change in consumption over your change in disposable income. Now MPS is a marginal propensity to save. So how much people save rather than consume when there's a change in their disposable income. So let's say you get a raise at work, right? Of that raise, how much of it are you going to save and how much are you going to spend? A lot of us got stimulus checks, right? Of the stimulus check, how much of the stimulus check did you spend and how much did you save, right? So your MPC and your MPS. And so your MPS is determined by a change in savings over your change in disposable income, right? Now, MPS is equal to 1 minus MPC, right? And why is that true? Well, it's because, again, you can only do 1 or 2 things with a dollar, right? So if you subtract your consumption from $1, right, or from 1, then that should give you your how much you're going to save. Now, from the MPS and the MPC, we're able to determine the spending multiplier, and that's going to tell us how much that's going to magnify the amount that's spent in the economy, right? So if someone comes into El Paso to spend on the Sun Bowl, right, well, then that person, depending on what the spending multiplier is, that's how much it will impact the economy, right? So how do we determine the multiplier? Well, we determine like this. there's two ways, right? There's spending multiplier, right, is going to be 1 over MPS, or one over 1 minus MPC. So essentially what you're seeing here is the exact same thing, right? We're seeing that this is 1 over marginal propensity to save, right? And then 1 over 1 minus marginal propensity to consume. But this value and this value are the exact same thing, right? Because 1 minus MPC gives you your MPS. 1 minus your MPS gives you your MPC. So again, this is your spending multiplier. So you take this value and you're going to multiply that by the initial change in spending, right? And that's going to be your total change in GDP, right? So if someone comes into El Paso and they spend $100, right, and the spending multiplier is 10, then that's going to be a change of $1,000 in the economy, right, or in GDP. So that is going to be it for our video on multipliers, topic 3.2. Thank you guys for listening, and if you guys have any questions or anything, let me know. Have a good one.